I'm the newsman. Mr. Modi is the news. I'm afraid that we face a serious credibility crisis. I have no doubt in my mind that we have, to some extent, compromised on the integrity of our profession. And when I say we, I'm not excluding myself here. Journalists have made serious compromises with their profession, some less than others. Beat reporters just follow the story. I think what has happened is, as you go up the ladder in this profession, you become, as I said, the cockroach becomes the butterfly. You end up making certain compromises. Sadly, I'd like to believe I've made much less than most, but then that's my view. I leave that to others to judge. Cash for votes, which took place in 2008 during the nuclear trust vote, we carried the sting operation. We didn't carry it when the BJP, which in a sense was almost a co-participant in the sting, wanted us to. But we carried it in public domain. But there were legal checks that we had to do, as a result of which we could not carry it within. Nobody carries a sting within 1 hour of it being done. But there was a trust vote to be won or lost, so the BJP wanted us to put out the tapes in the public domain instantly. We took legal advice. We were told we could not do so. We carried the story when we had to. And in hindsight, you could argue, maybe I shouldn't have listened to lawyers. But I've learned over the years to listen to them. I'm not a LUTYENS reporter, since this term is used in a pejorative sense. I've never, I moved to Delhi in 1994. I'm a Mumbaiker. I'm from Colaba. I'm a Colaba kid. You can call me, if you want, a South Mumbai cosmopolitan, no problem. But you cannot call me LUTYENS. I observe LUTYENS Delhi as an outsider. I'm not an insider in that sense. I am a Mumbaiker in exile in Delhi. The right to dissent doesn't make me anti-national. The right to dissent doesn't make me a prostitute. Similarly, if I were to today applaud a government move, that doesn't make me Godi media or paid media. Why should journalists either be activists or why should they be embedded? They should just be journalists. UPA too got the worst press in the history of independent India, and justifiably so, I believe, particularly in its latter years. The government just lost the plot. Contrast that with Mr. Modi. I don't think anyone has had the kind of soft landing that his government has had. Look at demonetization. Where has there been a serious interrogation of what were the benefits and losses of demonetization, in my view? We've given him a very soft landing, and this to a Prime Minister who's taken no press conferences, who's taken no questions. I do believe that it is important for a journalist to show the mirror to politicians, to be able to say it like it is. That's what I've tried to do. And I think if that leaves me vulnerable to the charge of being anti or pro Modi, it's unfortunate, but I'm willing to live with it now. I have no problems. I will live with it. My conscience is clean. And we have to be anti-establishment at one time. I think that's a very good question. I think, unfortunately, access journalism has come to matter more and more, with the result that being anti-establishment is more and more difficult. How do I get an interview with a particular individual if that individual also has decided, I will only give access to those who praise me? I will not give access to those who are excessively critical of me. Unfortunately, the relationship between the politician and the media has changed, and this cuts across all parties, all individuals. We keep singling out Mr. Modi, but how different is he from a Mamata Banerjee or the late Jayalalitha or a Naveen Patnaik, a Nitish Kumar, or indeed the Gandhi family, all of whom sort of live in this access journalism bubble. And sadly, many of my fellow colleagues see huge benefits in simply lining up and saying, Ji Huzur. I've been very open and transparent about this. I was asked the night before, as I was flying into Lucknow to drive to Allahabad, that the questions that I had sent, I had to change them. That she would only take questions on Indira Gandhi. At that stage, I had two options. Say, forget the interview, I won't do it. Or say, okay, chalo, I'll go to do the interview and slip in all the questions I can. Unfortunately, every time, if you see in that interview, even before at the start, every time I tried to slip in, she said, not now, I will not answer political questions. I had no choice. Once I was doing the interview, but to ask questions on Indira Gandhi. which is very different from going to do a political interview, let's say, over Mr. Modi and then asking him questions which are soft. I mean, give me half a chance tomorrow to do a political interview with Sonia Gandhi and I promise you I will ask all the questions I want to ask. On hindsight, you could argue I should have said sorry, then please find someone else. I don't want to do the interview. But that's where competition comes in. You know, do you want to give another channel the access to do an interview with Sonia Gandhi? You don't. She speaks so rarely that we are ready to take every morsel. You see, this is where access journalism comes in. Because we are denied access to Sonia Gandhi, when I get the interview, then even though she says she will not take political questions, I say, okay, so be it, I'll do it. No, I mean, look, I have resisted that temptation over the years to exoticize. I show LALOO for his strengths and his weaknesses. You know, he sparked off a remarkable political revolution in Bihar, but he also was responsible for a certain complete corruption of institutions and a caste-ridden polity in that same state. Not that caste didn't exist before LALOO in Bihar, but I think LALOO allowed a certain corruption of the system as well as the rise of family Raj in Bihar. I showed both. Is that exoticization of LALOO? Not really. You could argue that, you know, there was a sense of, a journalist sometimes likes to see the underdog win. And when I first met LALOO, he was the underdog. And I guess that's when he was very attractive to me. Later on, he became the top dog. When someone becomes the top dog, he's less attractive. And for me, Bal Thackeray is just as interesting as would be Jyoti Basu. Both left and right, but I have had a beer with Bal Thackeray and I've had beer with Jyoti Basu. I am an obsessive election junkie. The two things that obsess me are cricket. I mean, my two great passions are cricket and elections. I love elections and I take it seriously. I take psephology seriously. The best thing on counting day is to watch someone who says, I'm going to win by a huge majority, actually lose. You know, from 89 when I did my first election to now 2019 will be 30 years. And that was the election of VP Singh. We'll see who's the winner in Jo Jeeta Wo Sikandar. The Congress is a bit like a family firm. The Modi Shah juggernaut are a new India enterprise. They are hungry. You see, there's fire in the belly. The chemistry is with Mr. Modi. I think strategic local level alliances are with the opposition. But I would say at this stage, I think it is still advantage Mr. Modi. The key is Uttar Pradesh. To my mind, India's most populous state will decide whether Mr. Modi will be India's next Prime Minister or not. If Mr. Modi, like he showed in 2017, is able to work his chemistry against the arithmetic of alliances, then I still believe Mr. Modi will be India's next Prime Minister.